excited. I feel like recently we're seeing a little bit of a lull, and I admittedly love trying all the new stuff. So I've been searching and I'm like, nothing's really, you know, catching my beauty. So there's 2 cream blushes, an eyeshadow palette, and there's also the new fragrance. So I thought that I would compare this to the Tom Ford Lost Cherry. So we're gonna go over that. I'm gonna demo the products. I also have the new lip dews from M Cosmetics. I adore these. I want to demo them. I also picked up the Patrick Ta Major Brow, as well as one of the new Makeup by Mario lip serums. These are exclusive to his website, and he's releasing a new shade every Monday. I don't know for how many weeks. So I picked up the first one. Maybe I'll pick up a couple more. I also want to continue to try out the Rare Beauty products, the blurring primer and the concealer. It's not working for me, but it's working for everyone else. I've tried the concealer maybe like 6 times now. It just doesn't look good on my under eye, so I'm gonna try to apply an eye cream and maybe see if that helps me. And then I also have a couple drugstore products. I have the Jason Wu Ready Set Matte Powder, and then I also have this Physicians Formula. This is like the Breakfast Club palette. So I thought we'd use the bronzer in here. And then I don't really know, you know, what else I'll throw in there. I always like to throw some different stuff in there. I have my hair in curlers. I wanna talk about this because I struggle with my hair texture, so I'm gonna get into that too. But if you're new here, I hope you subscribe and stick around. I do a ton of trying new makeup. I'm implementing drugstore products into my content, and I'm doing a lot of shorts as well, which are just like short form, really telling you the best of the best or what to avoid. Also, I will link everything that I talk about today down below in my description box. If you enjoy these videos, please give them a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out, and I think that's all I have to say. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so obviously I have my hair in sort of like the robe curls. I wanted to shout out this company. I haven't taken my hair out yet. I was gonna take it out before, and then I was like, you know, then it's in my face, so I know that I don't look, you know, super put together, but I wanna leave this in, take it out with you guys, and really see if it works. So I've done the robe curls and just bought like these satin sort of robe curl kind of hair curlers off Amazon, and my hair just is so fine in texture, it just slips. It will not wrap tightly around, no matter how hard I try, or no matter if it's wet or if I use a leave-in conditioner. I've just struggled so bad. So I found this company on TikTok called Eternal Muse, and I really saw a lot of good reviews about it, so I bought a couple. They have like midi, mini, and then the regular size, so depending if you want like tighter curls or if you have short hair, long hair, whatever. So I just put this in last night for the first time, and then I put this roller in, and it was so comfortable to sleep in, and my hair actually wrapped around it. If you know, you know, when you have really fine hair, I would pull it tight and it would just slip, and then by the time I'd get to the bottom of it, my hair was like not even in it, so obviously it wasn't gonna create a curl. So I really am hopeful that this works out, and I will leave a link to the website down below. I'm not affiliated, they don't even know who I am. I just tried this last night, and I was just really pleased with how I was able to wrap my hair once each time. I didn't have to continually start over. I wanna go in and put on this Makeup by Mario plumping lip serum. So I got the shade Pink Glow. This is the first one that he released. He's doing like one every Monday, and I think they are gonna come to Sephora eventually. So this one is supposed to be honestly like basically clear, but it has like a milky white sort of color to it. Honestly, it looks clear. That's one thing that's kind of frustrating, I think, about the promo photos. The models look like there's more pigment than there is. I love the formula on these, but you can see like it gave me maybe a slight like milky pigment, but I feel like the models, when he shows these, it looks like really, I don't want to say like pigmented, but their lips really definitely do look like tinted. This feels incredible though on the lips. Has like a minty sensation. They're supposed to be plumping, but it doesn't hurt by any means. There's just a very slight tint. He has released like 3 more since then, and I'm kind of eyeing one of them that's like really bronzy. It just looks beautiful. So I feel like this is really pretty, but I did also, you know, have a lip stain on already, so who knows how much tint actually came from that product, but it does feel really nice, and it's a beautiful shiny formula. And I think his original ones have like a shimmer in them, whereas the 4 that he's released so far on his website are creamy or milky, so there's no shimmer, just shine. So I want to try out next the Patrick Ta. This is the Major Brow Defining Pencil. So I purchased this. I got the shade Blonde. I didn't know. I do tend to like a light brown, but I really didn't know. I think he only had like medium brown or brown, and I was like, that's too dark. So this has a spoolie on one side. The component is a little bit larger than what I like. I really like the Huda Beauty. I also like the Precisely My Brow from Benefit. This one has like a slant to it, and I don't want to say it's like a rectangle, but it kind of is. So when you swatch it, it is pretty dry, which I like, meaning that you're going to be able to get smaller strokes, and it's one that isn't going to be slipping and sliding. That's a big problem that I have around my brows when I'm trying to do like hair-like strokes. If I don't set with powder, or if the brow pencil is like brow pencil is too emollient, I feel like you cannot get precision and it just looks like kind of a mess. So I'm gonna zoom you in and we're gonna just try this out. So I did underline my brow with the Huda Beauty just because I really need precision. I feel like this color is good. It's not too light. Sometimes when I buy blonde, it's way too light. That looks pretty good, to be honest. And I like that it's a drier formula. If you like a drier formula, it's not waxy, it's dry. So it's one of those, not dry meaning that it's not coming off, but it's just, it's not creamy or emollient, so you have control. It's not going to just like smear all over. I really like that. Like the formula is really nice, and I like that color too. I'm gonna grab my Makeup by Mario brow gel because that's what I use next, just to kind of like fluff my brows up. Okay, so now I wanna jump into the Love Fest collection from Huda Beauty. So this is a collaboration with Kayali. So there is a new fragrance, which is called Burning Cherry. And then there's also 2 cream blushes, 9-pan eyeshadow palette, and then a liner in brown, which I love. So I wanna start out with the eyeshadow palette. That's why I haven't set my lids. I want to do something a little bit more intense. So this is what the packaging looks like, and then here is the color story. So let's swatch a few of these. I really enjoy Huda's eyeshadow formula. Okay, those are beautiful. So it looks like the one in the center is really like chunky, but it has that high shine, and then this one is gorgeous, and then this one has that like marbled effect, but it still is really pretty. Okay, so I swatched the mattes as well. They feel really nice. There's not like kick up in the pan. The only one that felt a little bit dry was the deepest shade. The reason I swatch on the palm of my hand is because I already wash my hands a lot and I struggle with dry knuckles. And if I apply a fresh tan and then I swatch all of this makeup on the back of my hand, I'm constantly like scrubbing it off and it's staining, and then it'll just take off my tan and really make my hands dry. So I like to swatch here when I have a fresh tan. So everything's swatching really nicely. I'm trying to figure out what kind of look I want to do. This is available now, I believe, at Sephora, and this retails for $29. So I will link this down below, and then of course we'll get into the rest of the collection. So I think I want to start off with this deeper shade down here, and I'm going to apply this on the outside of my eye. I didn't set my base because I really want to do something deep and smoky. So I am just going to place this on the outer portion of my eye. And I feel like this always goes better if you have a tacky base. So once I place that down, I'm just going to take a clean brush and start buffing the edges. So I feel like recently there's been not much that's been exciting me in the makeup realm, which, you know, could be a nice break because I feel like obviously things are constantly coming out, but nothing's been like super wow for me. So I think I want to mix this shade up here with this pinky shade and just blend this into that color just to make it more rich. So I'm just really packing this on. This is sort of like a base, and then I'm gonna work on softening it. So now I'm gonna take a clean brush and I'm gonna mix the pink with this light shade very lightly and just sort of go over all of the edges and just try to buff this out. And then of course you could go like back in and just sort of use whatever brushes or colors to make it more seamless. All right, so now I think I want to go into this shade right here just because it's swatched really beautifully. I'm just going to use my finger. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I'm just going to pat this on, and then I might go in with like another shade. Yeah, I think I'm going to take this middle shade here just to see. This one is more chunky, but it's like more of a topper. It's really pretty though. So the first one is more like a true metallic. And then this one is more of like a chunky kind of topper. So next I'm gonna go in with the Life Liner that comes in this collection, and this is in the shade Very Brown. I love this formula. It's a tiny, tiny little tip. So they now have it in brown. I love the black one. So I'm gonna make a line across my lid, and then I'm going to smudge, or not smudge, but smoke it out with the deepest shade. Okay, so now that I have the liner, I'm gonna go into the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm just going to smoke on the outer corner, basically over the liner. I have a hard time doing lashes without liner. No matter what, I feel like you can see the band and the glue. So I feel like that's why I'm always doing a liner, but I don't really like the look of just having a line across the top of my lashes. So when I'm not doing like a wing, I usually try to smoke it so it's not just like this harsh line. I ordered some lashes, like lash extensions at home from Flutter Habit, and I really want to try them out just so I don't always have to like apply falsies. Heard really good things about them, so I think they're coming actually today. So I went ahead and applied lashes. I used the Eylure Vegas Nail Lashes. I haven't used them in a while, but they were a favorite forever. So I'm just letting the lash glue dry, but I wanted to go over the new fragrance from the Huda Beauty collection. So this is called Love Fest Burning Cherry from Kayali, which is owned by Huda Beauty. And people were thinking this was gonna be a dupe for the Tom Ford Lost Cherry. So I wanted to compare the two. I sprayed the Lost Cherry on this arm and the Kayali on this arm before I started filming, and I am noticing some differences. So the Kayali, they describe this as a warm and spicy, and so does the Tom Ford Lost Cherry. It's interesting when you smell them in the bottle, they smell very similar, but when I actually put it on my skin, the Kayali has a little bit more spice to it. It's not as sweet, it's a little bit heavier, whereas the Lost Cherry really dries down and it does have that candy-like feel. There's some sort of like sweetness in there. I think it's probably the liqueur. So this one to me has more of a sweet dry down. This one is a little bit more sultry, more sophisticated, night appropriate. I think they both are, but if you like a sweeter scent, I would say you would still prefer the Lost Cherry. They're both very cherry off the top. I would just say Tom Ford's more candy-like, whereas the Kayali is a little bit more like sexy. For me, I prefer Tom Ford because I just like sweet dry downs. This one would be one that I would probably have to like add in some other fragrance to kind of calm it, just because it's a little bit like spicy to my nose, and to me, I just like a sweet backing to that. So now that I've gone over the fragrances, I do want to start on my complexion. I'm just using this Beauty Pie moisturizer. I'm really liking it. It doesn't break me out and it looks nice under makeup. And then I want to give another shot to the REM Beauty concealer. Everybody's loving it. I cannot get it to work for me for whatever reason. So I want to try to prep my under eyes. So I'm gonna use a little bit of my Banana under eye cream. I usually don't do this. I usually just apply this to like my lids, but for some reason, the REM Beauty doesn't want to like stick. It lifts and then it just really creases badly and it clings, which is so weird because I tried it the other day with my fingers and you know, it just looked horrible. I sent a photo to Cheryl and I was like, I am like the only person that can't seem to get this to work. When I say the only person, I'm talking about the only person like on social media that's done reviews. When you read the reviews on Ulta, there seems to be a split. Most people seem to love it, but there are people that said, you know, the same experience that I had, that it just clings and there's like no coverage. So we will see, but I really wanted to like prep my under eyes and see if that helps. I do also want to keep trying the blurring primer from REM Beauty. So this one has a really interesting texture. It's a gel, so you feel like it's going to be really silicone based, but it has more thickness to it. It almost has like a light gripping factor to it. So once you spread it out, it's not slipping and sliding. It almost like gives you a nice sort of like tacky base without being like the Milk or the e.l.f. Not that tacky, but it's got some sort of like density to it, so I think that may help like foundation stick to it. I don't have a brand new foundation, but I'm gonna mix my NARS and the Lancome Care and Glow. I've really been liking the Lancome. The only thing I don't love is the fragrance. I wish they would have not put that fragrance in, but I love how it wears and it gives you a little bit of a glow, but it's not greasy or heavy. Okay, so now I wanna try the REM Beauty Sweetener Concealer again. I have the shade Light 6N. I am just terrified, honestly, because every time I use this, it just creases, it doesn't give me coverage, it just clings. So I'm gonna go in with a brush. The last time I demoed it on camera, I did use the sponge and it wasn't my favorite. And then I did use my fingers the other day. So I'm gonna try to be like really, really light pressure. I feel like this is one that lifts on itself, but I did apply an eye cream today, which I haven't tried with this so far. I mean, usually I don't have to, so with other concealers, so that's definitely, you know, an extra step. I definitely do think a brush works better than a sponge. So far this is the best that it's looked. I wanna see how it does when I set it. Typically I would try to build up a little bit, but I feel like that's where I run into trouble with this one. So I'm gonna leave it as is, but it definitely looks better today than it has when I previously tried it. Maybe I just need like an eye cream. I'm gonna go in next with this Jason Wu setting powder. One of you guys told me that this was super smoothing. I tried this yesterday. I filmed a video and I don't know if I'm gonna post it. I don't know. I just didn't really love the video, but this was really nice and smoothing. This is a brand at Target and I had to hunt around, but I finally found a Target that was like, you know, 20 minutes away from me that carried his products. There wasn't like a ton to choose from, but I got the last powder. I have to get the creasing out. Yeah, this concealer creases like heavy, heavy, heavy on me. I don't mind as long as it doesn't crease after I set it. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull this down. And I'm just gonna take a brush to set the rest of my face. I also like that the powder isn't scented. I love the Huda Beauty powder, but I wish that she would come out with like a fragrance-free option. So I wanna go ahead and finish off the lower lash line. I'm gonna go into the deepest shade with a tiny pencil brush. And then I'm gonna grab this brown shade right here and I'm just going to smoke underneath. And then I'm gonna grab some of this pink shade and just sort of smoke underneath. So I was gonna use my Nabla eyeliner, but I can't find it. So I'm gonna try this Sephora collection in black. Hopefully this is going to work in the waterline. I just love the Nabla formula, but I know I went through the black one, like it's gone, but I had like this deep purple one that I was gonna use, so I'm just gonna apply this in the waterline and then sort of on the lower lash line. Then I'm just gonna use the brush I used to smoke on the top lash line, just to sort of blend. So for some reason it's like grabbing in certain areas and not blending in others, but we're just gonna make it work. So I'm gonna leave the eyes there for now, but I wanna go in and add some dimension to the face. So I have this Physicians Formula. This is a collaboration with the Breakfast Club. They came out with 2 palettes. This is volume 1. So I used this yesterday and I really like the highlighter in here. It looks like it would be a little bit deep in the pan, but it really goes on beautifully. So you have 2 highlighters, you have like a pinky one, and then you also have this like gold one. You have 2 blushes and then 2 bronzers. There's a deeper version of this palette, but I didn't pick that up. So I wanna start off with bronzing and I'm gonna go into the deeper shade. My only thing with Physicians Formula is I wish that they would just like branch out and do deeper colors, more rich colors. Just, I feel like they kind of just stick in the same like light medium bronzer family, and the thing that sucks is their bronzers are great but they just don't expand their shade ranges. And like even these palettes, I don't know how deep the volume 2 goes, but even like the blushes, they're just very like neutral. I would like to see just something different. They're just very like middle of the road. So I want to go ahead and go in with the blushes from the Huda Beauty collection next. So these are interesting. They're called cream blushes, But when you look at them, they look like a powder. So this one is Burning Cherry. I've never felt anything like that, but it definitely is a cream. Wow, okay, so when you touch it, it becomes creamy. And then the other shade is called Toasted Tangerine. Ooh, I cannot even describe the texture on these. Very, very unique. They do have a little bit of like a glow to them. So I'm interested to try these. I was going to use a brush, but because they are a cream, I'm gonna use a sponge. These are $39 each, so they are pretty pricey. I don't know. Let me start out with the Burning Cherry. I'm just gonna take my sponge and sort of dip in. Yeah, you can see how they pick up. So I'm just gonna work off of my hand here. Ooh, do they smell like cherries too? I think they do. Okay, please tell me this isn't lifting. I feel like it's lifting my powder. Hold on. Okay, this is 100% lifting my powder. Oh, wow, I was excited about these. I mean, I know it's a cream blush, but there's not many that won't go over powder. Let me try the orange shade. Can you see that? Should I try a brush? So I'm trying a brush now. I feel like I did salvage it and you really can't tell much. On this side, I still feel like it looks a little wonky. I'm gonna take just a Beauty Blender puff with nothing on it and just sort of go over it. Yeah, it definitely did lift, which, man, that's disappointing because I like to apply a cream blush on top of powder, and most formulas you can do that if you're very light-handed. This one doesn't feel heavy or tacky, and I feel like the presentation and the way it feels is really great, so I'm just shocked at how it immediately seemed to like really not play well with powder. There's definitely some glow in it, which I find it to be really pretty, but it could just be that Jason Wu powder, like I really don't know, but I feel like it ended up looking okay, but definitely not the easiest to work with powder. But I'm gonna go ahead and use the highlighter from the Physicians Formula palette, and I'm gonna use the more gold one. This one's really beautiful on. I thought it would be too deep, but it really almost like buffs into your skin. Yeah, see, it's like grabbing onto that cream blush right there. See how pretty that is? I thought it was gonna be too deep, but it's not. It's really beautiful. It's like grabbing to that blush. I'm gonna take a little bit on my Cupid's bow. And I think I wanna highlight the inner corner, so I think I'm gonna grab the pink and a little bit of the gold shade, just because the shimmers in the Huda palette are deeper. Just want to add like a little bit of inner corner brightness. So for lips, I picked up a lip liner from Target. This is from the brand Mented, and it's the color Dope. I believe this is a Black-owned brand, so they had a lot of like really rich shades. So I'm just gonna line my lips. So I added a little bit more of my lip stain. I will link it down below. And then for my lipstick, I'm gonna go in with my Buxom Full On Plumping Matte in Catching Rays. This is very light. And I'm just gonna blend it in. I'm gonna grab a deeper shade. This is called Brunching to really blend. And then on top of this, I want to apply one of the M Cosmetics Lip Dews. These are so beautiful. So I have the shade here, Everglass. No, that's not the shade, Enchant. So I'm just gonna swatch a couple for you. So this next one is called Lullaby. There. They have a nice amount of pigment to them. I just really, really like these. This one is called Dream. And then there is the shade Tea, which is more of like a brown. So I think I want to go in with the shade that I swatched third, which is called Dream. I can't tell if there's a smell. All I smell is like Tom Ford and that Kayali. So you can see just like how high shine they are. They're not sticky, but they have a pigment. I really like these. I have to take my hair down, it's driving me crazy, but I really like the formula on these. I just pulled, you know, 4 of the shades that I think I would wear the most, but I wanna go ahead and start taking my hair down. So this is how it actually, you know, looks, but I just tied it up in the back. Woohoo, looks like we have curls. So you might be like, oh my gosh, those are so tight, but my hair falls so easily that once I brush through, it's totally fine. So, okay, take this out. Ooh, so this is what it looks like. I think this is the midi. There's like mini, midi, and then the regular. Okay, let me zoom you out a little bit more. All right guys, so I finished styling my hair off camera. I can't say that I love it, but it definitely worked. I do feel like I'm gonna have to use a different leave-in conditioner, play around with different ways to wrap my hair. I think the leave-in conditioner I used has a little bit too much like stick to it, so I feel like it is a little bit sticky, hard to brush through. So I'll keep playing around, but definitely the best curler that I've used so far. You can just really tell the difference when I wrap my hair around. It's super easy to use, whereas the ones I bought on Amazon literally slip and I just cannot get my hair to wrap tightly. So now let's move on to the makeup. I did have to add a little bit of this Alamar lip liner. The other one just wasn't blending with the lip products I had on. And then I had some funky issue with the deep shade on this outer corner, like lifting. So I tried to pack on a little bit more. It wouldn't stick. So I ended up grabbing my Patrick Ta palette, packing some cream on, and then packing it on top. So I hope that it looks somewhat okay. For some reason, I'm looking at my makeup and I don't love it. I think there's a couple reasons, but it is what it is. We tried a bunch of new products and there was some products that I actually enjoyed. Starting out with the Makeup by Mario Plumping Lip Serum. I love this formula. This shade is really pretty. It gives like a light pink, sort of milky look to the lips. I would like to see just a little bit more pigment, but they feel really great on the lips. They're super high shine and I'm glad that he's coming out with more shades. So I'm eyeing a couple more. I'll probably pick them up. I also really like the Patrick Ta Brow, but I will say my brows look horrible right now and I don't know why. I think when I was blending all of these shades up into the brow bone, it just shifted and it lifted. I don't know. I just feel like my brows look just messy, but it's one of those things that I can't really fix it once I start putting like foundation and everything on. So it's just not my best brow day, but the actual formula on this is great. I don't know if I would use this for hair like strokes, just because I don't know if it's thin enough. I prefer the Huda Beauty, but the actual formula on this is dry and it really builds nicely. It has a nice pigment, but it's not slipping and sliding. Moving on to the Huda Beauty Love Fest palette. I had no issues with this up until the end when I was sort of looking at my eyes and I was like, wait a minute, there looks like there's like lifting over here. So I tried to pack the deep shade on and it just wouldn't stick. I tried and tried and tried. So I finally took a base from the Patrick Ta palette and then packed this on. I feel like it looks somewhat okay. So I'm not sure if maybe like my eyes are watering or it could be that liner from Sephora. I usually use my Nabla and I'm out of it, or I couldn't find the other shade. But I feel like this is a cute little palette. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, but if you like these tones, it's nice quality. I like the shimmers in here. This one's more chunky, but it gives you a really beautiful like iridescent look. And this one's really, really beautiful, like a smooth shimmer. So I think it's a good palette. I just really don't know what happened on the outer edge there. I'm already a huge fan of the Huda Beauty liner, so I'm happy to see another shade. Brown is something that I wear a lot of the time when I'm not gonna wear lashes or just if I want a softer look. So this is a yes for me. And I am enjoying the Rem Beauty primer. It's called the Blurring Primer. I like that it's not slipping and sliding all over, so it's not heavy on the silicone. I do feel like, you know, my pores look nice and smooth, and it does have a little bit of a grip to it. So I like the formula. I'll keep trying this out. Now, in terms of the concealer, I feel like everybody's raving about this concealer. I don't love it, but I will say that it looks better today than it has previously. I'm noticing some fallout from that eyeshadow when I was trying to fix it, so let's just ignore that. But in terms of the concealer from Rem Beauty, I feel like it's going to cling. So if you have dryness on your under eye, I would not recommend this. I have tried my fingers, a brush, and a sponge. For me, a brush was the best. It just clings and it lifts. So I feel like you really have to use the lightest pressure. It's not one that I feel can be built on the under eye. Now the rest of your face, possibly, but on the under eye, it just wants to lift. And even when I set it, I feel like I lose some of that coverage. So to me, this is like a medium coverage at best. I wouldn't say it's full coverage on me personally, but it does look better today. So if you have dry under eyes, maybe use like an eye cream before. It's just one of those that I feel like has to be a little bit babied. And for me, I just probably won't, you know, reach for something like that on a daily basis. So far, I'm really enjoying the powder from Jason Wu. I feel like it's very smoothing, it's a matte finish, it's very light, and I like that it's not full of fragrance. So I'll keep trying it with different complexion products, but so far I've really liked it. Now in terms of the Kayali fragrance, to me, it is very, very similar to Tom Ford Lost Cherry. So maybe if you've been wanting to get this, but you want something that's not as pricey, you could get like the travel size of this. I mean, they smell very similar in the bottle, but as I said before, there's a sweeter candy-like dry down to the Tom Ford and a more spicy, sort of smoky dry down to the Kayali. But overall, I like both. For me personally, I still like the Tom Ford because I really like sweet scents. Moving on to the Huda Beauty Cream Blushes. I love the packaging. I love the presentation. This is very, very unique. When you touch it even, it's just very unique the way that it feels. It's not, you know, super, super emollient, but you really rub in there and you get this beautiful sort of glowy blush. So I love everything about this other than it did not play well with the powder I was wearing. Now again, it could be that Jason Wu powder. So I'm gonna play around with these and try different applications. I love, love, love just honestly everything about it. The colors, the presentation, the packaging, just everything about it really is beautiful. It's glowy, and I think it looks nice on the skin, but it's one of those that I think, again, I may have to baby, meaning that I can't use it after powder. And for me, that is almost always a deal breaker just because I have so many formulas that can go over powder. So I will continue to try these out, and maybe honestly it just was that Jason Wu powder. As I said before, the Physicians Formula palette I think is a really cute idea. I like that you get highlight, blush, and bronzer in there. The blushes are a little bit muted for me personally, and I just want to see more depth, more inclusivity, more bright colors. I feel like Physicians Formula really just stays like right in the middle with like the peachy blush, the pink blush, the really, you know, like light medium bronzer. I'd like to see more. Now I know there's a volume 2 that is deeper in this collection, but I haven't seen it, so I can't say. But I really wish that they would just listen to us and just expand, do something deeper, richer. This just gets kind of repetitive. I do think it's a really cute palette. Maybe if you just want to get like an all-in-one, and I love their formulas. That's why it's so disappointing, because I want everyone to be able to love their bronzers, and I just feel like they continuously keep releasing the same light medium bronzer. So if you're watching Physicians Formula, can we do some deeper tones? I would love to see that. And finally, I'm loving the lip dews from M Cosmetics. They are so gorgeous. They have a nice pigment. Look how shiny they are on the lips, but they're not sticky. So they hang around, they don't slip and slide, but they're not goopy, sticky, or uncomfortable. And I like that they're not sheer. I get so tired of like 10 lip glosses that are all literally clear. So I love that these actually have pigment. They just feel really nice on the lips. M Cosmetics stays impressing me, so I'm not surprised. Okay guys, so I think that is everything for this trying new makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's not my favorite look, but you know, we tried a bunch of new products, so I'll keep testing them out in different ways and update you guys. Let me know down below what you think about these products if you're interested or you're not. I would love to chat in the comments. I will link everything that I used today down below in my description box. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.